Allow me to introduce the new mission on the move with the vision and the tools for the building of a cool community with a new way of living. Improve the city with tools and a system. Power moves using political wisdom. It's government and big community quality work. A model city of excellence, quality work. Provide to a good service society deserves. Izanda ziyageza na morality preserved. On people spoke and the city has totally noted. Keep the focus, see transformation in progress. Mayor with a cape on his shoulders. Umuntu, umuntu, ngabantu, ubuntu together holds us.
Hey, greetings everyone. Nhlakanipho Zuma, the Executive Mayor, Governor Mbeki. Today we are once more greeting you in the concept of a model city of excellence, and as we continue to promote excellence, we are today once more graced with excellence that resonates from our own Governor Mbeki. Today we are visited by a very young lady, very beautiful, who has made it into the national and international space. OCC Dineo Rasedile. Welcome, Siswam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Maybe quickly for our viewers, who is OCC Dineo?
Sure. So I am Dineo. From Secunda, born, bred, raised. I grew up here, went to school here, and then after school ventured into the arts, performing arts. That was a path that I guess chose me. We chose each other. We found each other on the way. Although the arts have always been a part of my life since I was like really small. So then I decided to go and train. And after training, I then ventured into television and film. And I've been working in the TV and film space now for 10 years.
Well, that's a long time. Well, it means that Governor Mbeki is capable through producing people like you. But I know for a fact that we do not have any form of a school that teaches arts locally. So how did you end up going for an arts program, and where?
Sure, it was really tough. As I said, from when I was really young, my mom put me in like dance classes, and I was an acrobat at some point, and I participated in the theatre productions at school. So I mean, I performed at the Johannes Dachman. I think the first time I was like 10 years old when I first performed there, and then throughout high school as well. So I think the area, to some degree, did have those cultural, things that planted the seed. But by the time I was, in matric and so on, it was a very confusing time. It was a very frustrating time because there weren't a lot of places that I could go to find out more about possibly having a career in the arts and what that means and where do I train, so I only found that out once I had left town. Doing my own research online and asking people who were already training that side. So unfortunately here, I didn't, find a lot of places that I could go to for that. So maybe that's where the disconnect was, because the seed was planted here, because I performed in one of the best theatres that I've ever performed in here, which is the Johannes Dachman to this day. I remember doing a lot of shows and programs at the Lillian Goy Center. It was still called Casper Breed or something back in the day. Yeah. So the seed was definitely planted here. The first performance ever in my life, I was 4 years old, and it was at the Mbalenhle Sasso Club Community Center thing. Yeah. So the seed was definitely planted here. I think there was just a disconnect once now. One wants to venture into the arts professionally. Where do you go? Where do you train? What do you do? So all of that I found once I had left and was now in Gauteng. But the difficulty was then I had raw talent. I didn't know how to prepare for an audition. I didn't know what material I'm supposed to use. I didn't know, I didn't know all these things. So it was really, really tough. And then that's why once I was done training, I then started to have my own classes here, because I realized that if I was struggling, fortunately I had the privilege to be out of town and have now the proximity and the access to these other facilities and places like the hub, of the entertainment industry and television industry, which is Johannesburg. So then I thought, why don't I bring that knowledge, those skills here? So then that's when I started to develop my own classes and workshops so that I can impart that knowledge to young kids here who are also interested in the arts and wanting maybe to venture into it professionally.
So I heard you speaking about Johannes Stegman.
Yes.
You said that you had to perform there for the first time.
Yeah.
And the theatre is not functional at the current moment.
Yes.
There are no productions happening there. What do you think is the impact in the production of talent from local?
It's really unfortunate. The impact is really, really massive, because the thing is, when you learn, I'm fortunate that I was able to learn in spaces where, like I said, when you have access and you're actually seeing the things and you are within a theatre. I mean, like I said, I performed in that theatre from when I was really, really small. So I knew what an auditorium looked like. I knew what do you call it? Acoustics are. I knew what it means if they tell me that I need to project. I know what that means. I knew what the lighting does. If it's now a sad scene and they switch the lighting and it becomes darker and white. I had the experience of being in such a a theater that is so, it's literally world class. I remember even when I was in school, there would be traveling productions that would come and showcase their big productions. I mean, I remember watching Fila Second with Charlene Surti Richards, who was performing here in my hometown at the Stegman. So there's a difference between going to a classroom or a community center and teaching kids about theater and them never setting foot in a theater and actually learning in a theater and actually seeing the stage, seeing the auditorium. When I say you project because that guy is sitting at the end has to hear what you're saying, versus it doesn't sound the same in a community hall and in a theater. There's a huge difference. And when he sees the change in the music and the lighting and the whatever, and he's in wardrobe and they're in, all of these elements that bring the story to life, it adds so much to the performance. It adds so much to the learning experience. And that's why even in just with school, any subject that you teach, there has to be a practical element to the teaching. You can't teach science only on the book. At some point they must go to the lab and actually see the chemicals, smell them. You know what I mean?
Some are dangerous. You don't have to smell.
Yeah, you don't know. Some of them we don't. But you know what I mean. But then they know that, because they're in a lab, and the teacher will say that with this chemical you don't. Same with the theater. You learn to respect the environment. You learn all these different things. So I think it has a really big impact, because now you're having so many talented kids in the area, kids who are curious. They're curious, they're talented, but then they do not have an outlet. They do not have access to spaces where they can nurture that talent and possibly develop it into something so great.
Very interesting. So what major productions have you been part of in the national or international sphere?
Oh gosh, a lot. So I trained in theater, but somehow found, because I thought that I was going to be a theater performer and I was going to travel the world and I just wanted to do theater, until I set foot on, well, the feedback that I was getting a lot from like casting directors within the theater was, you do so great in television and film. And at the time I wasn't sure if I wanted to do TV. I was a theater child. But then I got an opportunity to, I got offered a role, actually a featured role. It was very small, on a show called Saints and Sinners back in 2014. By then I had already done a couple of TV commercials and stuff, but it's a different space or world altogether. So the first time I was on a television set, a TV series set, was in 2014, and I just fell completely in love with television and film, and I just hit the ground running. So since then I've been on Scandal, I've done MTV Sugar, The Estate recently, last year, and I just did a Netflix production, Justice Served. Before that, I also featured on another series that's also on Netflix called Dead Places. Internationally, I've done a drama series, a Netherlands drama series, and I've also done a UK film alongside Anna Friel. Like, she's one of the top actresses in the UK, called Sulphur and White. So that's top of mind.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that is great. But with all of this experience that is being accumulated,
Yes.
You spoke of your own classes. Where are they happening?
That's another challenge that I was faced with. So it's taken so many years to just try and get this running. A lot of factors involved. I've had to move locations so many times because there isn't, like I said, I would have loved for it to be at the theater, but unfortunately it's not functioning, as you said, right now. And then I wanted to use the Lillian Goy Center, but there are also factors there that make it very difficult to use that. So I ended up there was a period of time where I was having them quite consistently at the library. Yes, they managed to accommodate me there. And then there was a lockdown and a what do you call it, when there was an outbreak, there was literally a COVID outbreak, and the library was chained up and closed.
Yes.
So then that put a halt in that. Oh, it was so frustrating. And then I booked Netflix, and then I had to go off and shoot Netflix, and so it's been really difficult because I have parents who are eager, when are you starting again? When can we do this? I have kids who are constantly, WhatsApping me, listen, I want to go, let's go. When are the classes happening again? So there's just all these little factors that have been very difficult. If I could have a space that I can use, a space that I know no one's going to bother me here, no one's going to come and make noise or whatever, and I can just work, because I have so many people who are willing. I've got, parents who show interest. There really isn't anybody who's doing what I'm doing. If they are, they've been very mum about it, because I did check. So yeah, that's literally been my challenge. It's just getting a space that I can use. But other than that, I have also been doing one-on-one classes as well, just in my own little studio space. But yeah, basically that has been my challenge so far with having the classes and the workshops. So we're starting up again this year. Hopefully it will be, I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of people who've also just shown interest in helping out in, so I hope that this year it's going to be a lot smoother.
Okay. Hopefully we are going to be able to pitch in and make your work easier.
That would be so awesome.
Our purpose is to make sure that we nurture as much talent as possible. That is why we have ourselves as a model city of excellence. We want to create a situation where excellence is produced in multiples. so as we can be able to have our own stake in the national and international space, so that eventually we are recognized as a place where proper human beings reside. Now, with that, it means that all of us must be able to chain ourselves together and be able to produce as much.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate the efforts, we appreciate the excellence that you are performing, but we will also still be in your space. Unfortunately, you said you want your space to be closed and you don't want to be disturbed.
Well,
we are going to bother you.
when I say closed, I just mean like it should be a space where I know it's not like if I'm having a class, because I mean focus and concentration is such a huge part of drama. So if we're having a class, there isn't people, walking up and down while we're working, or like peeking into the door or whatever, because then everybody turns and looks and now we've lost it and we must start all over again. And yeah, that's basically what I meant. But I just believe that things that are meant to develop, especially because I have the young people at heart, I have the youth at heart, so things that are meant to develop, grow, uplift, nurture, people must have access to that. I believe in people having access to it. It shouldn't be like you must jump through hoops in order to gain access to knowledge, to skills, to whatever. It should be accessible to as many people from all different walks of life as possible. Yeah.
No. I think our viewers have heard you on what is exactly you want to achieve with this particular community. But what is most important is that it might have taken us time as the municipality to recognize the role that we can play and the role that we're supposed to play in nurturing and advancing talent. It is for that reason that this year we're going to be relaunching what is called the Secunda Jazz Culture and Arts Festival, which is called Cllr.
Yes.
And we would want almost every local artist to play a particular role in that particular event, because it's not a once-off event where you'll only be attending the festival on that specific date which will be set, but it's the program on preparation which speaks to the entire community, social cohesion, coming together of multifolds of fields. So we will still want you there and be in a position to contribute.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we hope that we will be contributing towards you and the advancement of your own production.
Yeah.
I'm aware that you have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel not so long ago. And the aim and the purpose of it is, like I said, to share my experience in the industry. I think not a lot of people that do what I do that. There's like a veil. There's like there's a lot that people don't know about how our industry works, and I think it's very dangerous. I think young people think they want to be in this industry. They see their glitz, they see their glam, they see Instagram pictures and whatnot, and they're not aware of the hard work that goes into it. They're not aware of the support that one needs to have around them in order to go the distance. There's a lot of hectic things that happen in our industry. You need to be ready. You need to really understand what you're getting yourself into. So that is really the purpose one of my channel, and the other is to also share like acting tips and because to be honest, a lot of we say people should go for training and stuff. A lot of those places are not cheap. A lot of those places are very expensive, and even the ones that aren't, they always just take such a handful of people. So then what happens to those who can't get in? So I thought, like I said, access, and there's so many different ways to learn. I know I've learned so many stuff on like YouTube and Googling, and there's so many people who are willing to like share knowledge, and they write books and free PDFs and whatnot. But if you're not aware of those things, you're gonna miss out. So That's basically the purpose of my channel, and it's just my name. It's called Dineo Rasedile. So anybody who's interested in following my journey or getting tips and advice and all of that on the industry, that's where you can go.
Well, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity and appreciate the fact that you were available for us in terms of your very busy schedule. It is very crucial that from time to time we are able to make contact with our own. After this, where do you see yourself in the near future as we close?
Wow. I hate that question.
Apologies.
Where do I see myself? What I can tell you is that I am extremely excited. I've been fortunate enough to be cast in some very big productions, which has aligned me with other awesome stuff. But I just I've always been the type of person, wherever I find myself, I always give 100%. And I also believe in paying it forward and, teaching others. So definitely doing a lot more in the teaching space. I won't go into detail about it, but definitely going, I love young people. I love kids. And so I definitely see myself working a lot more with youth and younger people. And of course, continuing to do the most on screen, small and big, online, you name it. I'm going to be doing the most.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of Mbeki, this is Dineo Rasedile, who has visited us today, and we are appreciating her and the work that she's continually doing for herself and also for this particular community. As Mbeki municipality, as you know, we are in support of local excellence, local talent, and we are going to give ourselves to each and every one, so as we can be able to assist and support and give the necessary support. To those who want to support the careers of our artists who are with us on a daily basis, please feel free to make contact with our municipality or direct towards them, so as you can be able to know what role can you play in advancing them. This is our podcast as Mbeki municipality, a model city of excellence, and we appreciate. Until next time, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Allow me to introduce the new mission on the move, with the vision and the tools for the building of a cool community with a new way of living. Improve the city with tools and a system. Power moves using political wisdom. It's Mbeki municipality work, a model city of excellence, quality work. Provide you with good service society deserves. Izanda ziyageza na morality preserved. On people spoke and the city has totally noted. Keep the focus, see transformation in progress. Mayor with a cape on his shoulders, Umuntu, Ngabantu, Ubuntu together holds us.